Predelay is one of those reverb controls that gets used all the time, but is commonly misunderstood. Most people think a higher predelay means a better result, but that's not always the case, and particularly when using a convolution reverb like iamReverb. So let's have a look at a couple of ways that we can use predelay in our mixes. So because iamReverb is a convolution reverb, meaning it's created from impulse responses of real environments, those impulse responses already have the natural timing structure of the room and the relationship between the direct sound, the early reflections, and the reverb tail built into it. So to achieve the most natural room impression, you would leave your predelay at 0 because the natural timing of the IR remains intact. Have a listen to this acoustic guitar as we push it further into the wet signal. It just immerses more into the room, which sounds very natural. Now, when we lift our predelay, we'll hear the direct sound first before our impulse response starts to play back. This can be used for creative effects and also for improving the clarity of the front end of your sound. So have a listen as we bring up the predelay. You'll hear that the guitar starts to create a slapping effect. So at 0 milliseconds, the guitar sounds immersed in the space. For this example, with that shorter room sound, the predelay creates this slapback effect, which can be really cool when dialed in with the right amount of dry and wet signal. That's a more creative way of using predelay to achieve an effect. Now, a great place to use predelay to create separation and more clarity on a sound is on vocals. If you have a vocal that you want to sound up front but still have that reverb ambience tail, then you can use that predelay so that you hear the direct sound of the vocal first, improving intelligibility, but then still have the impulse response, the reverb come in afterwards and achieve that ambience and three-dimensional sound.
Set sail to the edge of where the world ends.
So with a 0 millisecond predelay, it makes the vocal feel a little too submerged into the mix. If we push this up, we'll start to separate the vocal from the reverb, making it sound more immediate and upfront straight away.
Set sail to the edge of where the world ends.
And then it's just a matter of dialing in the desired amount of dry and wet signal.
Hoping we would fall into the endless skies. Maybe we would find rest for our weary souls. Let go of all that we know and pass into the light.
So that's a great way of using predelay to achieve separation and clarity from the reverb, but still add that depth. So let's quickly compare that vocal in the context of the mix with a 0 millisecond predelay and then with a larger 150 millisecond predelay.
Set sail to the edge of where the world ends, hoping we would fall into the endless skies. Set sail to the edge of where the world ends, hoping we would fall into the endless skies.
So with that longer predelay, the vocal feels more upfront and less submerged into the mix. So when it comes to pre-delay, a short or a long pre-delay is not necessarily better than the other. It just depends on what you're trying to achieve. And since you now understand how to use pre-delay in your mixes, you should definitely go and try it for yourself. And if you haven't used iamReverb yet, make sure you use the link in the description below. You can go and do the free 14-day trial, get it into your mixes and test this out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.